Alright, moving on to Riley, and after Riley is Bogdan.
What if every conversation we had or action we have done with others was seen as performance? Kenneth Burke, a literary critic, developed the theory of dramatism, which is the idea that communication is a symbolic action using hints to reveal motives and shows how language functions as a form of drama in everyday life. We all play different roles for different people. Understanding this theory can help us better apply these roles we play and see our motives and the motives of others in hopes of becoming a better communicator. To give you guys examples of this theory of dramatism, I analyzed a speech from Martin Luther King to show the theory in practice. I'll begin with discussing Burke's background and the development of his theory. Then I'll explain the pentad with examples of human motives. I'll then discuss Kenneth Burke's view of life as a drama, focusing on guilt and redemption in communication, and finally conclude with real-world applications in society and our everyday lives. Now that I've given an overview, let's look at the first main point. Burke was a literary critic that focused on rhetoric and knowledge of nature. He was one of the founders of the new criticism literary movement, which left a mark on many philosophers, critics, and rhetoricians. Dickstein, who wrote in the central center of the book that he explored problems of interpretation, literary meaning, and symbolic actions in terms of their relations with human motivation. While teaching at Bennington College in 1945, he developed a work called A Grammar of Motives, which helped build his theory of dramatism. One of the many things he came to believe while building this theory was that he sees language as a persuasive tool that is a form of drama. He also emphasized that language is symbolic action and the healing capacity for moral and ethical choices. Example of a moral choice would be the separation of animals and humans. An example of ethical would be that action is only possible through language. Now that we have discussed the foundation of this theory, let's look at the framework of the theory, which is the pentad. An article from Changing Minds readily broke down 5 elements of the pentad, very simply to understand. These 5 elements are act, agent, agency, scene, and purpose. They all serve a different purpose for this framework to work. The act is personal for interactions, the scene serves as a context and setting, the agent is a person or group doing the act, and agency refers to the method used, and lastly, purpose is the reason behind the act. With pentad explained, we can think and use these motives when we speak with friends or telling a story. Our next point we are going to focus on is the other aspect of this theory, which is life as a drama. This aspect is shaped by guilt, redemption, and interpretation. In an article from the communication theory, they explain that Burke believed that guilt is the driving force in communication. He also argued that communication is a ritual of guilt purging where society symbolically brands themselves of guilt through rhetoric motives. Redemption and identification are the core foundations of this theory. For effective communication, the speaker must establish identification with his audience to make them feel connected with what is being said. Human communication reflects a dramatic performance where people have motives, playing different roles, and it also aims at influence and persuasion. Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream, serves as a powerful example of dramatism in action. The act of the speech was the call for racial justice and one unity between white and black Americans. Martin is the agent, using the authority of the civil rights leader to convey his message. The purpose is the action toward racial equality and justice. The scene is the speech used to bridge the gap between white and black Americans through the power of shared dreams and aspirations. There are cons to this aspect of the theory. Dramatism may not provide much utility in some communication contexts such as technology. Interpreting motives and actions seems subjective, which will lead to conclusions. Lastly, not all communication fits into the dramatic framework. To gather all this together, we use motives all the time to display or to inform, even when we don't notice. Now let's look at the last point. Dramatism applies almost everywhere and in everything. Lee, who is a number of analytics hosted an article explaining shaping public policy by using dramatism. Dramatism plays a significant role in policy narratives when making decisions as it provides a framework for analyzing the actions and rhetorical strategies used in communication. Policymakers can frame issues any way they want to and shape the public's perspective. A study on the use of climate change communication found that narratives that emphasize the moral implications of climate change were more effective in getting public support than those that solely focus on economic or scientific aspects. Johnson was also helpful when developing campaign speeches in debates and politics and in interpersonal communication. It shows how people justify their actions, meanings, and intentions. Now that we understand the theory and its foundation, let me give you my final thoughts. We have examined the background of Kenneth Burt, and the foundation of his theory, the framework of his theory, which is PINCAD, the idea that life is drama, and lastly, the applications of real-world scenarios of Johnson's in different settings. Kenneth Burt's theory explains that communication is seen as symbolic action, showing motives and how language functions in different settings. We perform this theory every day. We tell stories, give statements or speeches, we listen to our friends and family tell stories, and we also decide on several things every day. These are used not exchanging words, we are performing human communication.